This is the PCIJ, the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, broadcasting from Manila.
You know, it is so unrealistic. I'd like to increase the salaries of all public officials. As a senator, I get $30,000 a month. The only way to remove graft and corruption would to be like Singapore, paying them like big corporate heads, a big salary, commensurate with the responsibility, and demand full transparency. And the problem is maliit yung sweldo, pero pinapayagan naman magnakaw. In the Jamby administration, I think we have to rationalize, even for civil service, rationalize all salaries and get the money that we get from being not corrupt to fund these salaries. So much, billions, hundreds of billions are wasted to corruption. And this can be used to increase salaries across the board. Better high salaries than pork barrel. My family have had money for 100 years. And this money came from industry, real estate, banking, shipping, and not from politics. My grandfather was a senator, and my father said he got poorer because he was a senator. My aunt was a senator, and our whole fortune was never built on politics. Unlike Senator Villar, I will not be ashamed to say, as the Ethics Committee report will show, he took advantage of his position to enrich himself using people's money. And this is something I cannot do because I'm running funded by my own person, my inheritance. So hindi na rin kukubrahin yan. I mean, I'm not spending lavishly, and I'm not I'm in this as a principled candidate. And that's the real reason I'm running, so that we may have a president who will not use the people's money to enrich himself. You see, it's hard to put an amount because you don't know who Villar is bribing. Many people want to come to a presidential candidate and say, "Oh, boss," and then it's a handout. That is exactly the type of politics I'm against. The people who volunteer, the people who have the same platform as me, they come, I receive letters, they volunteer without any money involved. And exactly by putting a price on the presidential campaign is exactly the type of politics I'm fighting against. Putting a price on Malacanang is certainly not a moral or ethical way to go about it. Well, small donors who give 100,000, who give 2,000, I don't want to accept money from any vested interest. Those people who give millions, and then you see presidents who accept money from, or hundreds of millions from big businessmen, you have to pay them back. And that's against my platform. My platform is for giving capital to smaller people like farmers, small fishermen, small entrepreneurs, puhunan ng taong bayan. I do not believe in paying back vested interest. Look what happened to Mrs. Arroyo. Our poverty, the gap between rich and poor has increased so much only because she has to pay multinationals, vested interest, big business. Big business has grown, but the benefits of the country's growth has not been translated for the poor. I think the law should give a little more by way of advertising to people like us who have followed the rule, and we didn't advertise a year ago. I think that there should be a law against advertising before campaign period, And then during campaign period, they can give us a larger allowance in order to tell people what our platform is. And there should also be a law saying that each candidate can put out the same amount, because we hear Senator Villar has already bought forward. So then other presidential candidates who want to buy spots, who don't have as much money, can no longer get into prime time. There should be a law, and if I'm elected, I will push for such a law that all presidential candidates be given enough prime time at the same time, at the same rate, without one candidate being able to block off the others. Definitely not. I'm against the use of money earned through corruption, because that is taxpayers' money. And state resources, definitely a no-no. Well, to me, I'd like to remove pork barrel, at best remove it, and at worst cut it down and make it very transparent. Lump sum budgeting, that can only mean one thing: corruption. Well, because wala akong utang na loob. Maski kanino, lalong-lalo na malaking negosyante sa mga multinational. So, hindi ko rin ipagpapalit yung kabutihan ng bayan para lang sa akin personal gain. Yung track record ko makikita naman sa Senado. Mabuting track record ko, at maski kailan, hindi ako nagnakaw, hindi ako nagsinungaling, at pinaglalaban ko talaga yung laban sa corruption. Panahon na magkaroon ng isang presidente na ang puso ay para sa taong bayan at hindi lang para sa kanyang pamilya at para sa sarili.